live with Dragon. Okay, live with another video. One day after Christmas, we are spitting out the videos. Lots of content needs to be discussed, and the Dragon must discuss them. So the video is entitled The Magic Bullet to Heal Injuries. Hint, it's you. And the reason that I'm making this video is if you're already not a member of a forum or a group, like a Facebook group, for instance, that is around any injury. In this purpose, let's say it's the back space, right? If you go down, and I've commented on this before, but if you look at the most of the comments, it's someone speaking about their pain levels, what drugs to take to mitigate those pain levels, and then it talks a lot about surgical intervention. Will this heal my issues? It also talks about post-surgical intervention and unfortunately some of the not so great side effects of that surgical intervention. So I wanted to make this video. I feel like it needs to be said that even a common scenario that I'm getting on my videos is, one of the most popular ones that I have is, what is your takeaways from BPC 157, TB 500, right? These peptides that we have circulating in the market right now, that are supposed to be like these all-purpose like healing aids. And sure, like if you read the studies, the efficacy around it dropping, inflammation in the body is pretty well studied, but we don't know a lot of the side effects because they're so new. To answer that question for, at least on video, and I've answered this in the comment section a lot, is I only ran it for 2 to 3 weeks. I didn't see too much, to be honest with you. Maybe it's because I didn't run it long enough, but I've also seen other gentlemen on here and who have commented on it and said they haven't seen a lot of efficacy in terms of that particular peptide as it applies to healing a herniated disc. Now, the reason this video is called The Magic Bullet to Heal, injuries is because the real magic bullet, unfortunately, is you. You are the person that's going to heal those injuries. You have to take it upon yourself to heal the body. And I know that's a tough pill to swallow, but it needs to be said. I don't think it's being said enough. So if I have to say it, so be it. And this is coming from a guy who's not only suffered one injury in terms of the back, not 2 injuries with the back, but 3 injuries. So I've herniated a disc 3 times. That doesn't scale into, I tore my ACL, my meniscus, various injuries, lifting injuries that have occurred over, a 15-year time span. But there's a consistency in my ability to heal, progress, and be better than I was before. I guess how you quantify being better than before is, the way I was doing it was just total pounds lifted, or just generally how I feel as a person on a day-to-day scale. So, again, I want to totally reiterate that it is well within your capacity to get better, but a few questions need to be answered, right? And I think if you're able to answer these types of questions and write them out on a piece of paper, you're going to take the right steps necessary to start the healing process. So let's jump right in. Number 1, how did you get here, right? How did you get here? If there's, I don't know the statistics, but surely there's quite a bit of Americans or people all across the world that are dealing with back pain. I'm sure it's upwards of 30-40% of the adult population. How did they get here? Do they have a sitting job? Do they have a physical job, right? Do they have poor sleeping habits? Do they have problems with, alcohol and other things, other substances that could provide, I guess, a negative correlation to how they operate on a day-to-day basis? But how did you get here? And then go ahead and take a time to write that out. The second question is, once you align on how did you get here, number 2 is like, what behaviors need to change? So if we're going to answer, I guess, anecdotally for myself, was what behaviors needed to change for me when I got re-injured is that my body weight scaled up drastically. Not fat necessarily, but my body weight scaled up drastically post-contest, and my leverages were all off. And when my leverages were all off, I continued to train at the same way I was training at 200 and let's say 20 pounds. And if I'm 260, surely that's all going to change quite a bit. And the tightness of my body trying to catch up and protect myself was overwhelming to the point that an injury was sustained. So that's what happened to me. Next is, and this is a very important thing where, again, working with somebody that's a professional in the field, whether it's a physical therapist, whether it's with a chiropractor that doesn't just crack your body, but actually has a structured game plan to get you to the next step, or any movement specialist that can diagnose tightness and be able to decide and correlate like where is the weakness and where is the strength in your body, or even working with an online coach like myself. What program at phase 1 is going to get you to phase 2, and then to phase 3, and eventually to phase 4, which is a return to full capacity? If you can just do those 3 simple steps, those 3 questions, obviously I'm not hitting the totality of the entire spectrum, but I think if you can just answer those 3 questions for yourself, you're going to be in a very good position to start the healing journey. Now, we're not going to dive into, of course there's some supplements that might help. Of course there's some over-the-counter medications that are going to drop pain levels down. Of course there's some third-party manual manipulations, whether it's chiropractic care, dry needling, stim, everything that you can think on that space, that's going to help. Consultations with, Western practitioners, MRIs, x-rays, all that stuff. That's going to be there. That's not going to change. My point that I'm trying to say to everybody is your brain needs to answer those types of questions. A plan needs to be put into place, and then that plan needs to be executed to the best of your ability if your true goal, an authentic goal, is to get you to a pain-free position where not only are you pain-free, but you're better than you were before, because now you're not going to get re-injured, hopefully, right? Unless you're really pressing the limits, the extreme upper echelon of human capacity, which unfortunately for people, like me in that space where you're going for a bodybuilding goal, you're going for a powerlifting goal, strongman goal. Unfortunately, injury is a part of those sports. You see it all the time. Guys tear pecs, they tear shoulders, knees, right? It's just, but those guys have a capacity to recover. And it's not because they don't know something that we don't know. It's that they have something that's putting into place that they can execute over time and then return to sport. So I hope this video helps everybody. If you have questions, comments, concerns, obviously feel free to answer them or ask them rather in the chat. If you aren't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. It means a lot to me. We're trying to get to a point where I can monetize the channel and continue to put out more content and maybe even prioritize that content on a day-to-day basis for everybody. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Dragon Aus.